Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more of your Let's Not Meet stories that I'm super nervous to read. Honestly, I'm really excited for these stories. They all seem super different, and we even have an update to a story that we read previously that we'll get into after this first one. But this one says, "To the guy that tried to stab me in a Subway, let's not meet again." I used to work at a Subway not too long ago, right out of high school. I started working there because a guy I had a crush on since middle school worked there. This is important later on. We'll call him Darren for privacy reasons. Anywho, it was a pretty busy night the first time he came in. An older homeless man I had never seen before. We have a pretty big homeless population in my area. Some have good days, some have bad days. So I didn't think much of him. I was working with a coworker, Kim, one night. It was busy. There was a school sporting event going on, so it was a revolving door all night. The lobby's pretty full when the homeless man comes in and sets his bags on the counter where you pay for your food. I thought maybe he just wanted a drink or cookies. My coworker says, "Be right with you, let me finish up these sandwiches and I'll be right there." The guy leaves his bags and sits down right in front of me. My coworker gives me a look and we both give each other a kind of, let's get the other customers we're helping out of here and then deal with him kind of look. I finish up my last customer and send him off to get his veggies on his sandwich. This is when the last person that has not been helped was the homeless man. So I asked him if he wanted a sandwich. Mind you, this whole time he's mumbling to our other customers and to himself. I couldn't personally hear what he was saying, but it showed on people's faces that it was making them uncomfortable. He comes up to the counter and the conversation's along the lines of what's the cheapest sandwich and what he wants for toppings. He's still talking and mumbling to himself. We finally get to the part where he pays and my coworker tells him the total as I wrap and bag his sandwich. Then this man pulls out a rusty railroad nail, shows it to us and says, "This is my shank. Can't be too careful out here." "Oh, okay, sir, here's your sandwich. Don't forget to take your bags with you." The next week, like 4 days later, he comes in again. Same routine as last time, except this time I'm working with Darren and a shift lead, Holly. Darren and I are working in the front helping customers while Holly's doing dishes in the back. The only difference is he does not have his bags and immediately gets in line. Darren is making sandwiches while I'm ringing up call-in orders for customers. It gets to the point where he's about to pay. He was rambling again about his life, and as I'm counting his change, he looks me dead in the eyes and says, "Do you ever think about killing someone? Because I do." I hand this man his change, tell him no, and to have a good night. Darren and I both look at each other because what the fuck? Finally, the third encounter. It was pretty slow that night. I was just finishing up checking out a couple while Darren was working on another gentleman's order. I see some guy in a hood run up to the door, duck his head in, and then duck back out. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I ignore it because what people do is weird, no new behavior. I give the change back to the couple and I head to the back to go on my break. Holly's back there doing dishes. I sat in a little corner that was designed to be an employee area. Let me give you some idea of how the store was laid out. The front door was the only door leaving or entering the building, and one door with no lock leading into the bay counter area in the back where we did prep and dishwashing. I sit down. The next thing I know, I hear bangs, like someone fell into the door leading into the back of the door. I hear Darren yell, "Watch out, he's coming back there." I stand up and see it's the fucking homeless guy with a black hoodie on. I grab his right hand, hold it above his head, and I start screaming that he has to leave. He can't be back here. Darren comes behind and grabs his other hand, and the homeless guy collapses to the floor. The customer Darren was helping was on the phone with the cops. Holly looked over and was like, "Who is that?" Holly would spend 30 minutes in the bathroom smoking pot each shift. She was not going to be much help. Darren says, "Some homeless dude." I grab the homeless man at this point. I'm full of adrenaline and start pushing him out of the store. The only thing I can do is yell, "You can't be in here, get the fuck out," on repeat. He runs off and the cops show up and they state they know who he is and that they will deal with him. It eventually gets to the point where Darren goes into the back and comes out with something in his hand. It was a sharpened piece of plastic like 4 inches long. That was in the hand I didn't grab, so that was a fun night. I eventually couldn't work there anymore due to my hours being cut to like nothing. But in good news, it turns out Darren liked me as well since middle school, and we're going to be married by the end of this week. Shut up! I could not be any more grateful to him grabbing the other arm of the homeless guy. So as a closing statement to the guy that tried to stab me while I worked at a Subway, let's never meet again. I can't believe you and Darren are getting married. That's insane. And I can't believe the homeless man had a shank. Another shank. At least it wasn't the rusty railroad nail this time. If we're thinking of the positives. For some reason, the next story won't load. Like, I can't see the actual story. I can only see the photos attached to it. So I'm gonna try to update my, Okay, updated my Reddit app and it works now. I don't know what was going on because this is the update and I was super excited about this. So if it didn't work, I was gonna be really sad. Man from my last story stalked me for over a year. Hi guys, I'm cutting out a ton of information to make this shorter, but it may still be long, so I'm sorry in advance. You're so good. Also, you guys never have to cut out anything. I don't mind longer stories at all. I recently shared a story on the Let's Not Meet subreddit about a scary experience I had while house sitting. A man had been watching my friend and I through the home's window, then broke into the house. Thankfully, my guy friends had been nearby to chase them away. I shared the story with you all thinking that was the end of it. However, over the last year since that happened, things have progressed. Later that day, the owner had checked the cameras and discovered the man drove a blue Honda. Although I initially dismissed the information, reassuring her it was a one-time thing and that I would never be house sitting for them again, so I didn't feel the need to look out for that car, I started noticing a blue Honda driving or parked around the neighborhood. I initially tried to dismiss my worries as just paranoia, since Honda Civics are pretty common. One night I came back from work. I found my roommate Liz in the kitchen. We exchanged hays, and she mentioned that a man had stopped by looking for me. I often sold things on Facebook Marketplace, so having buyers drop by wasn't unusual, but Liz described him as a middle-aged man with dark features driving a blue Honda. My heart sank as I told her about the situation. Nar. During the few weeks, this guy kept showing up around 5 to 6 times. Sometimes I was home, mostly not. He would claim to be a family friend or say he saw me at church. He even knew the name of the church I went to, or make up some other odd reason why I had to come talk to him at the door. I had to stop answering the door myself in case it was him. Love letters started showing up in envelopes on my car, whether I was home, church, at work, even at the grocery store. I might try to upload pictures of those. I do have pictures of them, so I'll put them on the side. I've had some pretty creepy almost run-ins with him, but I'll skip over those for now for the sake of story length. By this point, we'd already called the police, but they said there was no proof and he hadn't actually done anything yet, so all they could do was file a report. The first time I met him was while I was working as a nanny at an apartment complex. The building made a circular shape with an outdoor playground in the middle surrounded by walls. You could only access it if you were a resident or had a key fob to get through the lobby. That day, he walked out of the lobby and approached me. At first, I didn't realize it was him because I had never actually seen him aside from the night several months prior while house sitting. He then asked me where the lobby was, which was strange because if he lived there, he would know. I thought if he was there for a meeting, he would have had to be let in by an employee or at the very least pass through the lobby to get out here. Then he looked at the kids and tried to say hi, which I shut down quickly. Next thing I know, he's trying to get me and the kids to go with him to his car because he says he has a kid their age and they could all play together. I pretty much yelled at him to leave and thankfully he didn't put up a fight. Later that evening, I told the family I worked for as well as the building management about what happened. Before all of this, I'd already been thinking about moving, getting a new car, finding a new job. It wasn't exactly planned because of the stalker, but it was a relief to know that he wouldn't have any information about me anymore. A few months passed and I started feeling like I was finally in the clear. I had installed cameras all around my new house, where I now lived alone. The layout of my living room had my couch positioned right under a window that overlooked my driveway. Although my neighborhood wasn't the greatest, it was still safe enough for me to open up the windows at night for fresh air. That night, as I sat on the couch beneath the open window, I smelled something odd, a mix of BO and weed. I shrugged it off as there were a few stoners who wandered around the area from time to time. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew and my blinds moved, and there he was, his face just inches away from mine once again. I screamed. He had been so close to me that I could literally smell him. I heard him mutter, "Oh shit," before quickly running off. I started bawling my eyes out, rushing around to close all the windows and calling my boyfriend, who happened to be one of the friends who chased him off last year. That night, we contacted the police and handed over the home security footage of the guy creeping around my house. He had been watching me through the window for 23 fucking minutes before I even noticed. Thinking about it still makes my stomach turn. I can't. Luckily, the city police were amazing and took everything seriously. They gathered evidence from my security cameras, surveillance footage from the break-in, statements from my roommates, boyfriend, the apartment managers, and the family I nanny for. They even collected the creepy love letters he had sent. It didn't take long for them to track him down, and they discovered he had hundreds of photos of me on his devices. The last interaction I had with him was when I walked past him in a grocery store. He literally growled at me. He began to cuss at me and he said, "Does that make you feel good, huh? Ignoring me, you piece of shit." Then made some dirty comments about my butt. I currently have a long-lasting restraining order on him, so to the man who stalked me from ages 18 to 20, let's never meet again. What the? Because you know he broke into that house because he was already stalking you. Like, you know that for a fact, right? Like, that's so... I can't linger on that story. I just absolutely can't. I'm glad you have a restraining order and I'm glad that you're safe and I'm glad nothing, like, I guess happened, even though that's traumatizing in itself. I have to move on because that is freaking me out. This says hunted from the superstore, and this is long as... Hey Courtney, I discovered your channel about 6 years ago when I ended a horrible relationship and needed an escape. I've tried writing about my supernatural experiences I've had with my soul sister that spanned over 11 years, but they sound absolutely insane, so I decided to give this one a go. Wait, please share those with me. This is the shortest one, but it's still kind of long, so I pray you can bear with me. One night, me and my friends and her 3 little girls went to our local Walmart. We had looked around for a while, because that's what you do in a small town with nothing to do. We look at makeup, hair stuff, clothes, home goods, all that jazz. I started noticing that we kept ending up in the same aisle as these 2 men. They looked like customers, medium height, dark hair, but I figured they were loss prevention. Our Walmart has a ton of theft, so I didn't pay much attention to them, just thought it was funny that they had the 2 of them following us like we were bandits. Once we had been through every aisle, we headed back to my car. We had been there for almost 2 hours, and as we approached, I realized I didn't turn the headlights off and the car was dead. Luckily, one of our friends came to give us a jump. It was warm and we just stood outside of the car until he got there because the girls were getting restless and we didn't want to go back inside because my friend's youngest child didn't want to leave in the first place. About 15 minutes later, we see our knight and his truck peeling into the lot. Upon seeing him, we were doing wild arm motions like directing an airplane and acting silly in general. Took a few minutes after we connected the cables before my engine gave the angelic sound of turning over. We thanked him profusely and finally headed to my friend's house. There's one main entrance to this Walmart which has stoplights. There's one lane you can enter on, and the next 2 lanes are ones for turning left and going straight or right. Left took you deeper into the town where we live. I'm hyper aware when I'm driving. I'm always looking in my rearview mirror, triple checking when I change lanes, looking both ways, way too many times, etc. There were cars ahead of me, and when I was about to turn, the green light turned to yellow, and like the defensive driver I was trained to be, I stopped instead of flooring it. I look in my rearview mirror and see a white, older model sedan with blacked out windows behind us. I thought the tint on their windows had to be illegal with how dark they were, but then the light flicked green and we were off. We went with the white car turning the same direction as us. To get to my friend's house, I took the back roads instead of the main way. There was never any traffic on it since it had only been open a few months. I had to get in the left lane to be able to make the turn I needed. I hit my blinker, checked the rear view, and I noticed the white car was now also getting into the left lane. There's another stoplight at the turn I take to get on the back road, and I pretty much ran the red light this time, flooring it instead of stopping unlike before. I look in my mirrors expecting to see a cop racing to pull me over, but see the white car that had been following us since Walmart also ran the red light, turning the same direction as us. My mind started getting a little suspicious. I watch a lot of true crime but brush it off because maybe they did that because we did and didn't get pulled over. I still tried to keep some distance between us as my spidey senses were tingling. A bit of a way down, we come to the stop sign that I turn at to continue the back way to our house, but you can also go straight and it leads to several car factories in the highway. I turn and expect that white car would go straight, but it ignores the stop sign and is rapidly catching up to us. My friend grabbed my arm and whispered my name, and I look at her and lock eyes. They've been behind us since we left Walmart, she whispered so the girls don't hear. My stomach sunk. I wasn't being paranoid. Suddenly, I don't care about defensive driving, I care about getting these girls home. I know those roads like the back of my hand. I also grew up on Fast and Furious movies, so I become Vin Diesel. I literally floored it and was taking turns without using any turn signals, but the white car was keeping up, those fucking headlights taunting us like a game of cat and mouse. I turned down a random street and pulled into a random driveway. There was a large truck parked on half, but no car next to it. I pulled right into the empty spot, blocking the view of my car if you drove past the side street, and I killed the lights and engine. You're so smart. The girls knew something was wrong, and my friend made something up to try to keep them calm, but you could tell the older 2 were scared. I stayed quiet for once, trying to think of escape routes if the white car pulled up behind us. I don't know if the owner of the house wasn't home or what, because we sat there for a good 10 minutes before we thought we were in the clear. I still don't feel right, but we couldn't stay at the rando's house forever, so we finally head to her house. There's a big hill you have to go down to even turn down the road to get to my friend's house. We arrive and are collecting our bags and almost start walking to her front porch when we see a car headed down the hill. My friend and I froze. My friend trailed off as the vehicle came closer to view for us to realize it was the same white rounded car with those blacked out windows. Actually, I'm pretty thirsty. Let's go get fountain pops, I say as I'm ushering the girls back into the car. The white car was now turning down the road that would lead right to her house and right to us. I whip out of where I was parked and realize that the white car was slowly creeping towards us. Now I'm pissed. My window was already down because there was a nice summer breeze and I'm ready to chew their ass off. Fight someone, or I don't know really. The white car stopped right as we were passing them and I start to smile because that's what I do when I'm about to lose my shit. The white car's driver's window was now down. I get a look at the driver and notice a passenger as well. It took a second for me to realize it was the two men we assumed worked for Walmart, the ones that were in almost every aisle 2 women and 3 young children were in. I froze. The driver was almost smirking as if he had achieved his goal. My friend yelled, "Fucking drive," and I snapped back to reality. I'm going as fast as possible without losing control. I see the white car in my side mirror swinging back around to follow us, and I flew to the nearest gas station, which was about 10 miles away, in the complete opposite direction from which we came. I saw headlights sporadically behind us while trying to get to an open public place, but they must not have known how windy those roads were at certain points. When we saw a gleaming gas station, we practically jumped out of the car before I had the car in park, except the youngest because she couldn't find her shoes. We ran inside, trying not to act scared out of our minds. My friend and the girls are getting drinks, and I got them some snacks. I was paying at the register, looking out the windows when those men in their ugly white car passed by slowly. Thankfully, they didn't pull into the station. They just kept driving. Right then, I should have told the clerk what was happening. We should have called the cops, tried to get a license plate or something, or a picture or anything. Instead, we got nothing. We sat in the parking lot eating and slurping down our pops for almost 30 minutes before we decided that we were going to spend the night at my house because we were all scared. At this point, the older 2 were scared and aware of what was happening after what had happened at their house. The youngest was still oblivious, which I'm thankful for, but I wish I could have done more to keep all the girls unaware of the situation. We were hyper-vigilant the whole ride to my house. Every time we saw headlights of a car, you could almost hear the catch of our breath being held and the exhale that followed when it wasn't the car that had been tracking us. We went back to Walmart the next day and told them what happened and described the men to management. He confirmed they had no asset protection workers that matched our description. We asked if he could check the cameras in the store, the ones in the parking lot, or both. The manager said he was not allowed to show us any footage, and unless a warrant was presented, that was that. To the vile, creepy men who followed us and made us feel like we were being hunted for a sick purpose, I hope we never meet again. And if by chance we do, I will follow you home, wait for you to leave, crack an egg in every vent in your home, flip the breaker to your fridge to cause everything in it to rot. I will take all your remotes and periodically return them right where you found them. I will add itching powder to your detergent, if you even have any, because you're filth. I will put salt in your pepper shaker and vice versa. I will take a walkie-talkie, stick it deep in your rotten egg vents, and slightly giggle randomly so you think your house is haunted. I will put BB belt in your front right tire and back left tire so you have to air up every day. Siphon all the gas out of your tank, but only right after you fill it up. I will take 2 items of clothing from you every 4 days. I will slowly drive you to insanity. That way you can be locked up in a psych ward and get the actual help you and your little friend both desperately need, you literal trash can. I got a little carried away, so if somehow this makes it to you, once again, I'm sorry. That's the funniest ending. That's insane, but it's so funny and honestly sane. If I ever see them, I'm doing all of that too. Or if I ever see anyone that I don't like, I guess. The audacity of men. It's insane. Like, what the fuck were you planning on doing? I'm so sorry. That's insane. And thank God you were aware. Oh my God. And thank God you oh my God. It just freaks me out that you even pulled up to the house at all. But hopefully they didn't see where you, I don't know. And hopefully nothing else happened after that. But that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any other creepy, stalker, weird encounter stories that you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I got some new tattoos that I want to show you at the end of this. I got 3 new ones, and so I'm gonna go into the ramble portion, but I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. So last weekend, me and my boyfriend went to Seattle for a wedding, and my tattoo artist that I've been going to for like almost 10 years lives in Seattle now. Nar won't shut the fuck up. And so I took advantage of my trip and I booked an appointment with her. I got 3 tattoos, and they honestly, they didn't take very long, which was really nice. Nar, are you kidding? She's so fast and so detailed and so oh my gosh, like it never even hurts that bad. Like she's literally the best artist in the entire world. I'm gonna show you what I got. It's a Taylor Swift tattoo. It's like a reference to the song I Hate It Here. I hate it here, so I will go to Secret Gardens in my mind. I saw a girl post on TikTok, and I might have the TikTok still. If I do, I'll put the username on the screen. I screenshotted it, so hopefully her username is in it. She posted like tattoo ideas for Taylor Swift's new album, and this was an inspiration from one of them. I loved this idea, and so I sent it to my artist and I was like, I need this on my body immediately. And I love that song. I love Taylor Swift. I've been wanting a Taylor Swift tattoo for a while now, but I didn't want it to be like an obvious Taylor Swift tattoo, and I thought this was really pretty, and it goes with like the roses that I have on my arm and stuff. Like it's just like a little garden. I love flowers and like floral stuff and like naturey shit. I don't know. So I thought this was like perfect. This one did not hurt that bad. It is on my right leg, on like the outer portion of my calf, I guess. It didn't hurt that bad. The closer it got to the back of my calf was more painful. There's like more muscle back there. Not that I really even have any muscle. My camera stopped recording. I have string beans for legs, and so yeah, but it like wraps around like the right side of my calf. And then on the left side of my calf, I got this flower. It's a violet for February. I'm not like super attached to violets or anything like that. I literally told my artist, like, I just knew I wanted a flower on the opposite side of the Taylor tattoo, and I told her like literally whatever you think will look good, maybe a violet for February, and so she went with the violet. I think it's super pretty. I like it, but it's not like significant in any way. I just thought it was pretty. That's it. This last one means the most to me. So this is my childhood stuffed animal, Cha-Cha. He's a little monkey. I've had him since I was a kid. I don't know how old I was when I got him, but I want to say I was probably like 5. So I've had this man for like 24 years, almost 25 years. I still have him. He's disgusting and mangled and nasty, but I love him so much. He's always been like my comfort toy, and I like literally, even when I'm like moving and stuff, I don't put him in the like box with the rest of my stuffed animals. He goes into my backpack because I have to know where he is at all times. I was literally looking for him so I could take a picture of him for my tattoo artist, and I couldn't find him because he wasn't in the spot I thought he was, and I was like freaking out. He's like my version of like everyone's blankie, like childhood blankie, because I don't have one of those anymore. And so this is like, he's literally my first child. My dad got him for me, I'm pretty sure, while he was on a trip, because my dad, whenever he would go on like trips, vacation, whatever, he would always bring us back something. Pretty sure Cha-Cha was from one of my dad's trips, and he's very important to me, and so I got him. He's like right up here next to my siblings' birthdays. And he's so cute. He looks so sad in the picture, but he looks sad in general. Like his eyes are so droopy because he's so old, and she did like a little white in his eye so that it wouldn't like blend together when it healed, and so it won't be as like sad when it's healed, I promise. But I'm super excited. I've been wanting new tattoos for so long. I also got the inspiration for Cha-Cha on TikTok. What can I say? TikTok is full of great ideas. And then my artist will actually be coming to Arizona at the end of the year, and I'm gonna get a spot with her then. I want to get an Ace of Spades, because spades, the card game, is like my family's game, and I've like wanted to get something like an Ace of Spades for a long time, but for some reason I always forget about it. But I think it would look really cool like in between the two that I got on my leg, but like above them, if that makes sense. So I'm probably gonna do that, and then I have to think of more. I have to think of more ideas. But yeah, I'm like super excited. I want to fill up my right leg since I have my left arm done, and so I've made good progress in doing so. I'm really excited. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go eat because I am literally starving. And I have like a little thing I want to talk to you guys about in my next video probably, because I've already been rambling for a while. But I've been making these things and I want to sell them, and I'll show you guys. I'm really proud of them. I think they're really cool and they're so fun to make, and all I want to do all day every day is like make this stuff, and I'll either make a whole video on it, or I'll just show you guys at the end of a video like the things that I've made so far. But this is like a little pre-announcement, I guess, that I think I'm gonna start selling these little things that I'm making, but I don't want to tell you what they are yet because it's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Love you guys so much. See ya.